All right, I am here with Miss Lindsey Boston out of Aries Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
How are we doing today, ma'am?
Good.
Are you all ready to get this weight cut over with and get weighed in?
Oh, I did not cut weight for this match.
Excellent.
So I actually did a 6-week bulk for it.
Okay.
So I've been eating all the food. It's not as enticing as it sounds.
What weight class do you normally compete in?
115.
115. Okay.
Yeah, so I usually walk at 115, but I
Right.
rarely get matches at that. So I'm pretty used to having to go up in weight.
I
Yes.
understand that problem. At my gym, I have 3 115-pound male fighters.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Who are
That's nice.
all well, and so the same thing you look
Yeah.
into. It's always like, well, I guess I'll take a match 10 pounds over because I have no other option.
Yeah.
So tell us about your jiu-jitsu journey. How'd you get started?
I started for self-defense about 7 years ago, and then originally that was like my main focus was just self-defense, but of course 7 years ago as a female in the sport I was mostly rolling with guys.
Right.
And so about 2 months in I decided I wanted to know what it was like to roll with a female, and hopefully a female my size, so I signed up for my first tournament, and then I really got hooked on tournaments after that.
Now, how much have you seen the sport change when it comes to the number of female participants?
Oh, it's changed so much in the last 7 years. So when I was about 2.5, 3 years in, I went to my first women's only open mat at Health Gracie in San Francisco. And then from there, it's kind of like I would seek out more women's, but even at that, there's a lot of days when I'm at training in Aries in Roseville, and I'll be at the lunchtime class, and I'm like the only girl on the mat, you know? So I run a full-time women's only program at my academy, so we have women's only classes 5 days a week, and I make sure my ladies know how lucky they are to have that, because even today still you could walk into a gym and be the only girl on the mats, you know, and smallest guy's 180 pounds, right? So
Right.
it's like, yeah.
So here you are 7 years later.
Yes.
Tell us about what jiu-jitsu means to you.
For me, it's everything. Like it's honestly my deepest passion, just the empowerment that it has for any individual, not just women, but anybody, kids, men, women, the effect it has for people that suffer from past traumas and aids in the healing and overcoming those things, you know, getting your power back. For me, it's far more valuable than anything. And I think during quarantine, that was really became more relevant than ever during that time, because I was actually anticipating opening up a bakery, and the location I was going to be opening, it fell through right before the shutdown.
Wow.
And during quarantine I could have baked all I wanted, and I missed my students and I missed training more than anything. Like I cried about Jiu-Jitsu so much. We met at a room in our house and I trained with my boys, and so it was very eye-opening to me to say, like, as much as I love something, that nothing quite has the impact on me that this does, that Jiu-Jitsu does.
So, you know, you're part of our first ever, this is our first card on UFC Fight Pass. This is our second ever ladies only event. And, you know, one of the things I've also seen the growth of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the women's division. And I have 2 little girls, and a lot of the times they'll watch, and, you know, they're just kind of getting into it. They're 7 and 8. They're really just kind of starting to get involved in it. But there's a lot of ladies who I'll talk to, moms who are watching, and they're usually like, oh, it just doesn't, not for me, or it's I'm too small, or I'm not strong enough. You know, what do you tell those ladies who are using that barrier to keep them from learning and helping themselves?
Well, for those women, and even for like a lot of kids, you know, I like people that understand that. Number one, I didn't even start till I was almost 35 years old. So I started with my kids. We all started at the same time. So I was already much past where a lot of people are, so past the prime, what they would say. Except for that, the beautiful thing about Jiu-Jitsu is that it doesn't require attributes. You know, anybody can do it. You have to just keep showing up. I'm not the most athletic, you know, I'm not the most coordinated. I can be pretty awkward, but you just keep showing up and learning the techniques, because speed and power and all that is great. But those that have to focus on just purely the techniques, they will grow faster in the sport than those that are relying on athletic attributes. So I make sure everybody knows, like, this is one thing you can get involved in. It doesn't require any physical attributes. It just requires that you show up, that you just show up and keep training, and then everybody can get good at it, you know?
Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Oh my gosh, yes. So, of course, I would like to thank my coaches out at Aries BJJ Roseville. So like Manny, Julio, those guys, they're awesome. And then Samir and Q, I just opened up my own Aries school in Reno underneath them, and they are just the whole team. Everybody's super amazing. And then of course all my sponsors. I don't know, am I allowed to say
Sure,
them on here?
yes.
Okay.
It's your time.
So Fuji, Gospel Grappler, Mother Macros, they have all helped me so much in preparing for fights, preparing for training, everything. So big shout out. Thank you to them.
Well, Ms. Austin, thank you for taking time to speak to me today, and I look forward to seeing you compete tomorrow night.
Thank you.